trust them.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to start with roll call this evening. Please start in the back room.
Thomas Douglas, Police Lieutenant.
Krista Heinrich, Township Engineer.
Jim Sullivan, Director of Engineering Services.
Dave Chris, Director of Finance.
Jeff Winterbottom, Assistant Manager.
Alex Conway, Township Solicitor.
Joe Giovanni, Supervisor.
Ashley DePiero, Vice Chairwoman. Laura Rivera, Supervisor.
Kevin McDevitt, Supervisor.
Chairman Dennis DeSanta, welcome to East Harlem Township. All right, so first order of business, we have swearing in some of our fire police officers. I think our illustrious constable is here to swear in. We call him America's constable around here.
America's most involved.
Yes.
If I could start with Anthony.
Okay. Chief, do you want to go down? Let's put him down. What do you need, Mike? All right.
I touched it from brush to the flames. Anthony, you hold the Bible. And let's switch to, yeah, let's go this way. Let's go this way, it'll work much better. Right hand on the Bible. Right hand on the Bible, raise your left hand. Please repeat after me. I, Anthony George.
I, Anthony George,
Thank you. Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I will discharge
and I will discharge
the duties of fire police officer
the duties of fire police officer
in East Norriton Township,
in East Norriton Township,
Montgomery County,
Montgomery County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. Yeah. Marilyn, please. Assume the position. Right hand on the Bible, left hand up. Okay, please the other. No, you're excused. Okay, please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Marilyn Benjamin,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I will discharge
and I will discharge
the duties of fire police officer
the duties of fire police
in
officer
East Norriton
in East Norriton
Township, Montgomery County,
Township, Montgomery County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. Now my brother, Sam. Sam is my fraternity brother, so this is a great honor. Got ahead of me, okay. Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Samuel Golden IV,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of fire police officer in East Norriton Township,
of fire police officer in East Norriton Township,
Montgomery County,
Montgomery County,
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations, Robert.
You got sworn in, come on up, we're gonna get a group picture of this. Yeah, come on in a little bit.
And confiscated. For the park.
All right. The next thing we have is a public hearing. Would anyone care to make a motion to open the public hearing? Thank you, Supervisor Rivera. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Supervisor Vanas. I'd like to call on Township Solicitor Alex Baumler to, oh, sorry, my bad. I was for it. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Township Solicitor Alex Baumler, if you could discuss the matter.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So tonight we are holding a public hearing which is required pursuant to the Pennsylvania Liquor Code to receive comments concerning the intent of Wawa Incorporated to transfer a Pennsylvania restaurant liquor license identified as number R2251 from Johnny's Bar and Grill, which was formerly located at 356 West Main Street, Norristown, to the Wawa restaurant facility located at 14 East Germantown. A couple of preemptory or preliminary items. I'm going to introduce a couple of exhibits into the formal record, just so that we have those out of the way. The first exhibit I'll mark is T1, and that would be the letter from attorney Ellen Freeman on behalf of Wawa Incorporated requesting this public hearing on the intermunicipal liquor license transfer. And that letter is dated February 27, 2023. And I will also introduce exhibit T2. These are the proofs of publication of advertisement of this public hearing, which occurred separately on two separate occasions in the Times Herald newspaper. And the dates of those publications were April 4th and April 11th, 2023. With all that being said, I know Ms. Freeman is here this evening, so I'd like to invite her to make any comments on the application.
Thank you. I just have a quick presentation. Do you guys, okay. Well, good evening. Thank you for having me here this evening. As your solicitor mentioned, my name is Ellen Freeman. I'm an attorney at Flaherty and O'Hara, and we handle liquor licensing all across the state. So if you have any general questions about liquor licensing, I'd be happy to respond to them. Tonight, I am here on behalf of Wawa Inc. to request a resolution which would permit the intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license. From what I understand, our firm was actually here in 2013 for Weiss Markets transferring a license into the township, so this would be very similar. The liquor code simply states that a public hearing be held in order to receive comments and recommendations from the residents within the municipality on the applicant's intentions for their operation of a liquor license. So this liquor license would be placed at Wawa's new building at 14 East Germantown Pike. This would be not Wawa's first endeavor in Pennsylvania. They have 21 open stores in Pennsylvania that operate liquor licenses. So 21 stores that sell both beer and wine to go. They have several more that will be opening up as the new stores start to get built out. In fact, 2 will be opening up next month in the area. But Wawa didn't just start selling alcohol in Pennsylvania. They have stores in both Florida and Virginia, over 100 stores in those 2 states, where they've been able to sell alcohol for years. So they've really been able to build up a good policy at each of their stores, a good reputation at each of their stores for selling alcohol in a very safe manner. They've been able to troubleshoot what works, what doesn't work, what policies are in place to protect not only their employees, but the residents, as well as their reputation, which they really take pride in, especially in this part of the state. And I know that they're very loyal customers. I'm from the west side of the state, so I unfortunately don't get to go to any Wawas, but I used to live in Philadelphia, and believe me, they are loyal customers. So Wawa understands that, and so they understand that they can't put a liquor license into any of their establishments and not treat it with absolutely the utmost strict policies and in order to not sell anything in a haphazard manner. Which is why I'm very pleased to announce that in their 21 stores, they have a perfect record with the Bureau of Liquor Control Enforcement. So that's no sales to minors, no sales to invisibly intoxicated persons, no violation of the liquor code, which is really outstanding given how many convenience stores and grocery stores do operate liquor licenses these days. I can't stand up here and talk about all of my clients in this manner, so I'm very proud of Wawa and their reputation and this particular record. Now, I believe this record is in place, and I believe they'll be able to continue to keep it in place because of the policies that they uphold at each of their stores. The first and foremost, most important, they have a 100% carding policy. So no matter what your age, if you do walk into the Wawa convenience store and wish to purchase either beer or wine, you're going to be carded by the associate. And really, this just removes the gray area from selling alcohol. It makes the associate that's behind the register not have to second guess whether that individual looks to be 21 years of age or older. It also, since a lot of the grocery stores do put this in place and have for many years, I think that Pennsylvania residents have gotten used to it as well, producing that identification when they're purchasing at a convenience store or grocery store. In addition to that, all of their associates will be ramp seller server trained, which is the responsible alcohol management program. In addition to that, they do go through an internal training policy before the store, training procedures before the store opens in order to know what would happen if they do sell alcohol to a minor or they do break one of Wawa's rules or the liquor code's rules. And that is termination. So the employee knows right off the bat if they are caught selling to a minor or if their store is knowingly violating the liquor code, they will be terminated because Wawa really has a no tolerance with that kind of those kind of actions. There will be security cameras, of course, throughout the store. And momentarily, I'm going to pass on a floor plan so that we can all take a look at it together. But the security cameras that are in typical convenience stores, these ones will specifically be pointing toward all beer and wine stocked there, as well as all of the registers. So it's going to capture every single sale. And that way, if any law enforcement would need any video, Wawa could supply that for them. There is a limitation on how much an individual can purchase alcohol at the Wawa. It's a limitation of 192 fluid ounces of beer, which is roughly 2 6-packs, depending on the configuration of what you're purchasing, and 3,000 milliliters of wine, which is roughly 4 standard bottles of wine. This will be a 24/7 store, as most of the new Wawa stores are, so it will be open 24/7. There will be a limitation on when you can purchase alcohol. It won't be 24/7. So the hours of operation for alcohol sales are Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. And wine sales have to cease at 11 p.m. every night, and that's a liquor code requirement. With that, my one exhibit for the evening is a floor plan. This is preliminary, only because sometimes when we, pending an approval this evening, we would submit this plan to the Liquor Control Board. Sometimes they tweak it a little bit, so just, if you see the seating in one area, it could be tweaked in the future. So I'll go ahead and pass these out for everyone. And apologies, it is a little light. I can help everyone identify what's on there. As well. floor plan, I think one of the first things that you'll notice is that there are certain hash marks that are going up the right side of the floor plan and then to the lower left-hand side. That just indicates what's licensed versus what's unlicensed. Most of the store will be licensed because a lot of the products can be on licensed premises. The Liquor Control Board still differentiates between a licensed premises versus an unlicensed premises, and there are certain things that Wawa sells that are not permitted to be on licensed premises. So that's the only reason for the differentiation of the hatch marks and the non-hatch marks. But if you look at the bottom right-hand side, that's where the seating area is. So there's going to be seating for 30. That's a liquor code requirement as well, in order for them to qualify for a restaurant liquor license. And then just to the right side of the seating is where the cold beer doors would be, and that's just the refrigerated doors that would hold the beer products. And then you can see also, just in front of the beer, up against the wall, is the wine racks. Now, in that area, that's the only area in which Wawa will be displaying any alcohol. So there won't be cases throughout the store. They're going to limit it to that area, and that way it's easier to monitor if anyone's in that seating area. I should mention, because they are a restaurant liquor license, they are required to allow for on-premises consumption. This is not any grocery store or convenience store's hope to have to do. If they could completely do away with this practice, they would. In fact, they did, and the Liquor Control Board came back and said, hey, wait a minute, you guys have to allow for it because you are a restaurant liquor license. And in order to qualify as such, you have to allow for on-premises consumption. They are permitted to limit it though, which is what they do. So a customer is permitted to consume one 12-ounce can or bottle of beer, or one 8.5-ounce glass of wine, which is the sort of, if you've seen the single-serve wine, so you can't open a bottle of wine there. At the 21 other locations that they've been putting this policy into practice, they've not seen it utilized really at all, so they've found that it's pretty easy to monitor. There's not many reasons to stay at the Wawa for much longer than one alcoholic beverage anyway. And so really the seating area is more used for those individuals who are purchasing their meal and used to go and sit in their car in the parking lot and eat it. Instead they have, somewhere to sit now. So that's what they're seeing more often is a lunch crowds, workers, or a quick dinner or snack for that seating to be utilized. But they've not had any trouble at their other stores with anyone over consuming or attempting to break their policy. So again, it's been very easy to monitor there. With that, and now that you have the floor plan in front of you and the testimony here, I welcome any questions certainly from the board.
Is that policy posted in the seating area?
That's a great question. I can't remember if they actually post it. I know they don't advertise that you are permitted to drink, so I actually think that they don't post that anywhere. I think that a lot of people, the reason they don't use it is because no one really thinks that you're allowed to, which they would probably prefer that to happen. So if they do, their internal policy is the max of one drink, one beer, one wine. And then in addition to that, the employees are trained to notice if anybody's walking around the store with a can of beer, because while they have to allow the consumption, they are permitted, it is solely in that seating area. You're not permitted to walk around the store with it, you're not permitted to leave with it, certainly, you're not permitted to be out in the parking lot with it, so it's right in that seating area, so if they do see anyone walking around with an open
But
beer.
apart from the open container outside of the store, that's a store policy, that's not a liquor control board policy.
To limit it to the seating area? Yes, that's a Wawa policy.
And just out of curiosity, I think it's funny, but they carve up the store and call some of it licensed versus unlicensed premises. What is it that they're selling in these unlicensed areas that you cannot sell in the same location as you're selling liquor?
Bulk food, so gallons of milk, loaves of bread. So in order to be a restaurant, if you're not selling single serve items, it can't be on the licensed premises. It's sort of, because they qualify for, since there's not a grocery store, convenience store license, they have to qualify for a restaurant license, and the definition of a restaurant license is being habitually and principally open for the sale of food for on-premises consumption. There's been a lot of court cases on it, and so this is the best that we've gotten so far from the Liquor Control Board.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions? All right.
No other questions? Just for sake of clarity, the record will move the floor plan in to the exhibits, and we'll mark it as A1. And at this point, Chairman DeSanto, if there's any questions or comments from the public.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Any comment from?
John Cole, 3324 East Hayes Road. With the history of this Wawa, and the liquor license is great, question is, does this change the definition of the use of the Wawa to a sit-down restaurant? And how does that fit in with the zoning code and the parking requirements?
Well, it was raised before.
Not connected to land development approval?
Well, I don't know code like you know code.
I don't know, I'm just
It was
asking.
raised before, and I ate there in that spot, so I would imagine that at some point,
This would be the Jim Sullivan question?
Jim Sullivan,
The answer to Ms. Cole's question is no. It does not change the use.
Okay,
no,
that was my only question.
the answer is no.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Any other comments or questions from?
I have just one question, a follow-up. Will you be able to pay for the wine or beer and your groceries in the same transaction? Or is
Okay,
it-
great question, yes.
Okay.
That was changed in the past couple of years as well. So
Okay.
when they get a wine expanded permit, which allows them to sell the wine to go, that opens the door for you to buy all of your stuff at one register,
Okay.
including fuel. So if you came in to pay for your gas, you could also buy a 6-pack of beer, a gallon of milk, and head out.
Okay, thank you.
The liquor code keeps me, or the liquor control board keeps me employed. So I'll be set for life.
It is much different in Florida and Virginia.
You know what, before you say, I'm sorry. I do have a question. So you said that they have to be done selling beer at 2 a.m.
Even on Sunday.
On Sunday, and wine at 11. Is that ever, do they ever, in any of your cases, have they ever shifted those hours to be earlier?
To be earlier, no.
This is my concern. I live near a convenience store that sells beer. And when they opened it, it was great, it was wonderful. And over time, it has become not so wonderful. So I would like to not have that happen in this case.
So are you, I just want to clarify your question so I answer correctly. Do you mean that has the liquor code ever expanded the hours to allow for, like, you're thinking 2 a.m. to 7 a.m.?
To make it- to cut off sales.
I'm thinking like, can we be done at midnight rather than 2 a.m.?
Oh, okay.
Because I'm RAMP certified, I'm a bartender, and I know that I don't have to serve up until 2 o'clock.
No, I mean, legally, they don't have to sell, they don't have to stay open. There's no liquor code requirement that says you can't decline a sale at midnight, and that be your policy. At the other locations that Wawa operates, they do sell, they're full privileged amount, yes.
And the intention of this store is to allow sales up to 2, wine up to 11 and beer up to 2 a.m.
That's correct, yes.
And why is there a difference?
Great question. I'll let you know. I have no idea, really. The liquor code and the legislature has always treated beer, wine, and liquor vastly different. I don't know why all three get you drunk if you drink the right amount, so I'm not really sure, but when wine expanded permits came into play in 2016, there was a cap on it.
It has to do with the carryout.
Okay.
It has to have to do with carryout because I pour all three.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, let me clarify, that's only to go.
Okay.
They could sell on premises until 2 a.m., they're absolutely not going to do that.
Someone wanted to drink their 8.5 ounces in the seating area.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. This is getting fun. So I think this is a question for our solicitor. Is there anything we can do as a township to govern this Wawa in our township, in terms of the hours that they're allowed to sell?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, the Liquor Control Board is the overarching statute of the state here. In this particular instance, you would have the option of putting a condition into your approval resolution, if you're so inclined to approve, that would attempt to restrict the hours that Wawa could sell to, but that's not necessarily going to withstand any kind of legal scrutiny. Of course, the Wawa will have the right to appeal it, and then we have to see what court says, and what the Liquor Control Board also needs us to.
I'm sorry, no, that's not much, but.
What the Liquor Control Board would ultimately say.
So it depends on whether they think they'll make more money over the next 20 years selling beer between the hours of 11 PM and midnight and 2 AM than what they're paying you. So,
There's always another option. I know this doesn't sound like a good option, but to request as a good neighbor coming into our town.
That was what I was
They would consider. I mean, it's another option.
So that's where I am.
Yeah.
so it would be an ask.
It was an ask.
It wouldn't be a condition, it would be a request.
Yeah, that's your alternative.
Anybody else? All right. Any comments? Anybody online want to talk about this?
Nobody's asked a question online.
All right. Okay. Then,
Motion and a second to close the hearing.
yes. I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Supervisor Devitt. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right. I'd like to announce that the board met in executive session to discuss matters of personnel and litigation. Would anyone care to make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from March 28, 2023?
I'll put that before a motion.
Thank you, Supervisor Gavanis. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Vice Chair DePiero. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Citizens to be heard. Okay. Comments from the Board of Supervisors?
Everybody get their taxes done?
I do have a few things. First of all, the new building down at the Parks and Rec, the new Parks and Rec building is well on its way to being erected. For those who might question, or your neighbors may question why that building went up, we outgrew our little building that we just redid, what, 5 years ago? Did we finish that building off?
Well, when we redid it.
Well, it was, yeah.
Yeah,
It was like a storage shed.
Unusable.
Yeah. But we quickly outgrew it, and we have bingo here now, we have movies, we have a lot of senior programs. There are night things that we, Thanks. Summer camp. There are a lot of things happening outside of our regular scheduled meetings. And what was happening was we were at the mercy of the school district, and we were paying the school district to use their facilities. And this will negate that. So rather than pay to have a program somewhere else, we can house the programs here. We don't have to pay the school district for summer camp. We have it here. It's all being brought in-house. So if anyone asks, we're really sorry about the pickleball courts. They are coming back. Tell a friend, tell 5. But that was the reasoning. The second thing, I pay attention to social media a little too much. But I want to address a thing or 5. First of all, the sale, the Aqua Sewer sale. I have, there's a survey that went out about single hauler trash removal, and the feedback on social media was all about the sewer sale. Let me assure you and anybody else who may be listening, I would never have voted for something that I knew was going to raise my bill the way that it did. The 5 people who were sitting on this dais did not screw anybody. We did not railroad anybody. We did not make uninformed decisions. We would not have voted for something that was going to cost us as taxpayers, because that's what we are, more money. So that argument is ludicrous, and that's not how it went down. And if anyone had paid attention to any of the meetings in the last 6 months, they would hear the township manager talk about the fact that there is a major problem with the sale and the terms on which we signed that sale, and it's being addressed. Okay, so tell a friend or five about that too. What else? What else can I address? Because people are hot now.
Well, just to add on what you're saying,
No, I'm hot because,
yeah, I understand.
you come up here and it's thankless. It really is, like, people think we make a whole lot of money doing this. There's no glory, I promise. So when our integrity,
Yes.
my colleagues have integrity, the people I sit up here with, and the people who I have sat up here with, have integrity, and we do it because we love our community, not because we're trying to get over. And it's just not okay. It's just not okay. There was a survey that went out about single hauler trash removal. Fill out the survey. And it's coming in your mail. And if not, you can go on Lindsay Snart, and it's been shared about 7 times.
It's on our page too.
It's on our page, it's on our Facebook page. But whether you like it or you don't like it, I don't care, fill out the survey. Because if you don't vote, you don't get to complain. Stony Creek Road. Stony Creek Road, there was a traffic study done in Penn Square Village. Stony Creek Road was developed, what was that, in the 50s, the early 50s?
1954.
1954. People didn't have cars like they have cars now. In 1954, the road is, we did a traffic study because if you've ever had to drop your child off at the middle school or pick them up at the middle school, when that happens, there is no way that emergency vehicles could get down Roland Drive or down Stony Creek Road because there are cars parked on both sides of the street. So there was a traffic study done. The recommendation, I think, was to have one side of the street parking. The township, not us, but the township will be out knocking doors to talk to residents to get their feedback. But at the end of the day, it's about public safety. We are not doing any of this for our own, our own amusement. I don't care if you can park on both sides of your street as long as you're safe and the kids coming out of that school are safe, because that's what matters, is safety, not convenience. That's all I have. Anybody else? Okay, thanks. Whole business.
Resolution number 2880, Wawa Incorporated Liquor License Transfer. I would like to call on our solicitor to review this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did you guys not just vote on this?
No, we voted to close the, we have to actually vote on it.
I thought I heard both at the same time. So before you tonight, of course, is the resolution that comes off of the public hearing that you just held. This is, well, there's 2 resolutions prepared for your consideration. One to vote to approve the liquor license transfer, and one to deny said transfer of liquor license. So you just need a motion, a second, and a vote.
All right, would anyone care to make a motion to approve resolution number 2880?
I'll put that in form of a motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair DePiero.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
As part of this, if you decide as a board to make a formal request for a change in hours, how do you make it at this stage?
Okay.
And again, it's not binding, but it's a formal request as you're voting on this.
Okay, so would anyone care to, is it to amend the resolution?
Well, no, I would keep it that way. You would say you're voting on this, and as part of this, you want a formal request of whatever hours for Wawa to consider amending their
Okay.
hours.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just give a request to Wawa that they would operate from 7 a.m. to 12 o'clock rather than to 2 o'clock in the morning for beer sales. So,
Thank you. Would anyone care to second?
Can I just posit another option?
Sure. I'm going to amend my,
Yes.
or amend my request.
Or something for the board to consider. I don't know, I'm just a really I can't take a lot of information or numbers or things to remember, so would 11 be easier, because then it's the same time for both wine and beer sales?
I think it
Or would
I think it would be, I think they might be more inclined to do midnight rather than 11.
Okay. Okay.
You want to do it again?
I would like to make a request from Wawa Management that they curtail their operation of alcohol from 7 o'clock till 12 o'clock at night, at the latest.
All right, so I have a motion from Vice Chair DePiero, a request from Supervisor McDevitt. Would anyone care to second the passing of resolution number 2880?
And I'll also second that.
Thank you, Supervisor McDevitt. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. All right, ordinance number 603, adopting regulations concerning the operation of massage parlors. I'm actually going to make a motion to table this item. Would anyone care to comment, or would anyone care to second my motion?
I'll comment on this. I think I've had some discussions with the manager, and I just feel some of the verbiage in this ordinance needs to be relooked at, and I would like to have the solicitor review this before we make a motion to approve. So at this time, I will second the motion to the table.
All right, we have a second to table ordinance number 603. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
And I would like to call on Township Manager Robert Hart to review the Historical Advisory Committee appointment of Diana Castle. I would also like to take this opportunity, although we will hopefully have the opportunity later this year in person, to thank and honor Frank Rouse, who has been a longstanding member of the committee, although we are excited to have Diana join.
Thanks. Thank you, Supervisor Rivera. You basically said in the action in front of you, Mr. Grouse is stepping away from the committee after a long tenure on the committee. And fortunately, we're very fortunate to have a former member of our zoning hearing board, former chairperson of the hearing board, interested in being appointed tonight, Diana Castle. Diana will be fulfilling the balance of a 5-year term expiring December 31st, 2024. That's before you resign.
All right, would anyone care to make a motion to appoint Diana Castle to the Historical Advisory Committee?
I will put that into a motion.
Thank you, Supervisor Rivera. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Supervisor Gavanis. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thanks, Diana. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, new business, change order number 1, Park and Recreation Building. As Chairman DeSanto had alluded to earlier, we're going to get an update from our Director of Engineering Services, Jim Sullivan.
Thank you, Supervisor Cabanas. This is change order number 1 for the Park and Recreation Building. If you recall, when the contract for the building was awarded, the building was 100 by 50, 5,000 square feet. We determined that wasn't quite big enough, so it was decreased to 125 by 50, increased to 1,250 square feet. And of course, increased the cost of the building, concrete, the building itself, insulation, some other things, some design changes. The total cost of this change order is $233,758.00. We ask that you approve this change order. As you can see, the building is moving along quite nicely. The floor is in, ceil's been going up. So right now, they're around schedule to finish Mr. Hart's schedule.
Anyone have any questions?
There's only $2,000?
$233,000.
Okay. I knew I misheard that. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. Like, yeah.
They got it from Crazy Ray's Bar.
No, it looks very sturdy, very exciting. And I think it's great that we were able to take advantage of the opportunity at this time to do this.
Any other questions? Did you put your initials somewhere in the concrete?
I did not.
Okay.
I forgot to tell Bob to do that.
All right, would anyone care to make a motion to approve change order number 1 for the Parks and Rec building?
I'll put that in form of a motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair DePiero. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Supervisor Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
Resolution number 2881, the Littleton Model Transportation Fund Grant for the East Norton Township Bridge Rehabilitation Project. I'd like to call on Mr. Sullivan again to review this item, please.
Thank you, Vice Chair DePiero. This is a straightforward resolution that changes the people who can sign to change to this grant we have. We received a $92,500 grant from PennDOT, multimodal fund, for 3 bridges in the township. The funds are not enough to do all 3 bridges, so we changed the scope to 2 bridges, the one on Woodland Avenue and the one on Hannah Avenue. So we have to amend the agreement, the grant agreement, and to do that, the proper people have to sign, and since Mr. DeSanto is not chairman, he has to sign for the township. And that's what this resolution will allow to have happen.
It's really housekeeping.
Should I recuse myself then? It has to do with the last place to recuse myself for this one, not that it's,
No.
I think I'm safe, but I'm just saying. All right. Any questions from the board?
There's no restriction on the grant that it has to cover the 3 bridges? Okay.
No, that's,
Yeah.
it was originally written that way for 3 bridges, but we can amend it any way we want to, actually. But PennDOT agreed that it's 2 bridge amendments.
We had hoped it would cover the repairs, but yeah, unfortunately it's.
No $2,000.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Any other questions? Would anyone care to make a motion to approve resolution number 2881?
I'll put that in form of a motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair DePiero. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Supervisor Cabanas. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Monthly expenditures, I'd like to call on our Finance Director, Mr. Chris, to give us the rundown.
Thank you, Chairman DeSanto. So presented to you tonight are the township expenditures for the month, more specifically the expenditures from our last board meeting to the day before this current board meeting. And those totals for that time period totaled $827,258.47. Our accounts payable expenditures, our payments for utilities, supplies, and services totaled $475,913.11. And our payroll expenditures, salaries, wages, taxes, were $351,345.36. The township staff has asked for the board's approval of those expenditures tonight, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions from the board? All right, would anyone care to make a motion to approve the monthly expenditures for March 24th? Thank you, Supervisor Cabanas.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Supervisor McDevitt. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Manager's update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make it brief, but I will piggyback on a couple of things you had brought up earlier. The Aqua sale, as you stated, we're not getting into too much detail. We are involved in some litigation around this to require two significant ways. One, to challenge their initial the PUC ruling granting what the increase they did, but on a second level, requiring and having Aqua adhere to what they contracted and agreed to do for us. And that's where we are now, and Solicitor Obama will have more for that. As we know, the wheels of justice move slowly and iceberg at times.
Yeah, I mean, we have a brief update we can share on that. The icebergs have moved a little bit. There's a briefing schedule finally issued in the Commonwealth Court of Appeal. This is the challenge, as Manager Hart mentioned, to the decision of the Public Utility Commission. It's being challenged by all the advisory bodies and us and a bunch of other parties. Actually, we're the only township, though, interestingly enough. But yeah, the case was filed in December for appeal. The briefing schedule was issued. The Office of Small Business Advocate, which is the lead party on this, their briefing deadline is May 5th. We are preparing to file a brief in support of their position in the next couple of weeks here. So hopefully we'll get to oral argument and maybe a decision by the end of October if the timeline holds true.
Thank you.
Okay, trash survey, you mentioned that as well. I see the information on social media. It's hard to believe it wasn't that long ago when I thought social media was a good thing. I quickly learned the hard way that I'm a horrible human being, regardless of anything I say. That being said, the trash survey is on there. We've already had in 24 hours a bunch of more than 200 responses.
Oh, and if you don't live in East Orange, you can't vote.
Yes.
Another thing.
Yes.
There's no way to filter that out of our online.
Yeah, we have to have, we have you get one per household in East Orange, one vote.
Okay, so there is a way.
Yes. And there's some other things we have from the mail and drop off that we're not gonna tell everybody, but yeah, it's safe. Where was I?
Trash.
Yes, so this has been, I've been here 7 years and this has been brought up a half a dozen times, like I said. The first time I was here months, and one of our more colorful attendees in the past brought a pocket constitution with them that says if they could say anything about trash, and we shouldn't do it. Since then, I've heard everything under the sun, which is great. Again, whatever the residents want to do is completely fine. So hopefully we'll be able to get those numbers out to you, and we'll go from there. Park and Rec building, you had mentioned, is going up, looking good, they're moving quickly. For people who I have had several inquiries about pickleball. I used to like pickleball too. But it's become a cult fascination right now, and it creates a lot of passion. I've responded to several residents. Not only, we never had pickleball. We had old tennis courts with large cracks in it where we played pickleball. We're going to have pickleball courts new coming. We're also in the building, we're going to have, it's going to be striped out for pickleball in the winter. Is there anything better? So my point is that anyone out there who knows, please share that information that this is going to be a good thing for pickleball and non-pickleball players. From like you said, from our senior programs that are growing exponentially, our children's programs and winter sports and any kind of meetings or anything, it will really provide an opportunity for this township, all on our campus. So a much safer, from our perspective, where we're worried about camp, we're worried about safety for children and seniors and all that. We're on campus, makes us all safer, makes it a little more efficient, more productive, more inclusive. So we're really excited about that. And Mr. Sullivan is correct. I gave him a deadline of June 18th that this needs to be up, whether he has to work the crane or not. It needs to be ready to go. So fortunately, he has assured me that this will occur. Outside of that, springtime's coming. Look forward to seeing everybody out at the parks and stay tuned for more good stuff.
For the pickleball court problem, for the 2 months that people are without, or actually it's going to be longer.
It's gonna be
right?
longer.
Because you have
Yeah.
to construct the pickleball courts
Yeah.
once we finish the first priority, which is building the community center. Do we have a reciprocal agreement with any other neighboring townships where residents can go play on their courts?
Well, I'll tell you, most places don't have pickleball courts. So the school district has several nice tennis courts. I drove by today, they were out playing. So I see that's where a lot of people are moving to.
Did you say something about putting a net across the bocce courts? I'm kidding.
No,
But it will upset the bocce.
Not the bocce courts, for God's sakes. No, but Supervisor McKenna had mentioned if we could put part of at least for the time being, for practice on some of our drive area, parking lot area, which we plan to do. We're just waiting for the big cranes to get done their stuff. So there's no sort of safety issue. So we're getting there. We're getting there. And we're pro-pickleball.
Thanks. Good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. All right, upcoming meetings and events. Thursday, April 27th at 3 p.m., there is a movie matinee. Do we overplay it?
You're asking me?
Online.
Jim, what movie?
No idea.
Vice Chair Harris said it's online.
It's online.
Okay, yeah, I don't
The
know.
other days.
I don't mind some movies.
Our next Board of Supervisors meeting is going to be Tuesday, the 23rd of May at 7 p.m. And you can go online to see the other goings-on as far as social events in the township.
And we are recognizing our volunteers this week.
I'm sorry?
We're recognizing our volunteers.
Thursday night?
Thursday night, yeah.
Yeah.
Very grateful for all of our committee people and township volunteers.
Yes. And I believe we have our first concert in the park coming up before our next supervisors meeting.
Yeah, May 19th. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
The Sensational Soul Cruisers.
And I will say that's the part, because we normally don't do them in May, but.
It's for my birthday.
And,
That's my birthday. I know. I know. You were like, you know what? He would like Motown. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I think Motown, I think.
Tell Natalie, right? Tell Natalie. I
Yes.
said thank you.
yes,
My name is synonymous with the Sensational Soul Cruisers.
right.
All right. Citizens to be heard.
My name is Tina Howell, and I live at 2945 Stony Creek Road. I see that we have a new sign. What's going to go on it? On the other side of the railroad tracks, on that new building?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's not, oh, you're talking about the billboards?
The billboard.
The billboard, they're not our size.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the firehouse.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
So it's actually good to ask because I did put a little bit of update on Facebook, but it's good that I share it at will. Several years ago, I mean, quite frankly, probably partly when you were on board and even before, there was a lot of litigation, a lot of legal arguments back and forth with the whole, not just here too, around the Commonwealth, about billboards and allowing them, not allowing them, because quite frankly, most townships and boroughs say, I don't care if you have billboards, I just don't want them in my area.
Yeah.
And that's fair, right? I mean, most of us probably feel that way. After a lot of money and a lot of work from this township and others, it eventually made it up to the state Supreme Court that said, you must have a district to allow them. Years ago, we agreed to put it in the industrial district. That happens to be, by Fulton Road, that property happens to be one of the few places where a company would want to put it. Otherwise, you're back in industrial areas that doesn't really make sense. So they put that up there. Now we have a whole replanning, but we have very little control what they could put it there. So right now, we have no idea what's going up there. The property owner next door, well, as part of that property, has a long-term lease apparently with this billboard company.
So it's not up to the township, it's up to.
No.
I mean, it's fine, I don't have any problems with it. It's just-
Believe it or not, we've had some support, but we've also had,
Well, the argument for is that the township can use it for emergency messages, Amber Alerts.
that's the selling point for them. I know, I mean, that's what they do. And again, everybody wants them, but not necessarily in their thing. But our thing is, we couldn't do anything about it. They could put it there, and that was, even if they put, whatever they put on there. Now, there are some content things that we do have control of that, absolutely, but we don't expect to have any issues with that. So,
I was surprised to see it, but
yeah.
Us too.
Yeah.
It's
And-
smaller,
Yeah.
It is.
smaller than I thought it was gonna be.
Well,
It's not as intrusive, I mean, I know it's not on yet, but when I was driving, I crossed it many, many times looking for it until the time when I finally was like, oh, there it is.
Because it's at the back of the.
yes, it's back.
And the one thing we were allowed to do was have some dimensional restrictions. That was about it. But, it's very limited on what a township can do as far as once you allow it. So we're hoping for the best, and there's a whole replanning plan coming in that Jim has been working with the contractor, so.
Okay, one other thing, being a senior citizen that I am, I love all the activities that your group is doing. Natalie and Jesse are just wonderful, and there's no complaints here.
Thank you.
There could be more. That's the only thing I can find.
Yeah, and I think the room is going to help that, honestly. I mean, I think that's part of the plan, was the building is going to be able to do that kind of stuff, so.
All right, any other citizens to be heard? Yeah, right here.
Get
Listen,
your steps.
listen, if you want to talk.
No. John Cole, 3344 East Davis. Could Mr. Hart or Mr. Sullivan get an update on both Ballard Wolf Park status and Hal Herbal Park status?
I will give Ballard Wolf Forest is truly, like I mentioned before, we've had a private tree guy, tree company do some significant work back there. Our staff has widened the path. Our public works staff has to go in now and level it, meaning there's some deep crevices and they don't want it to be dangerous. And then they're going to, not asphalt it, but make it a reusable area. It's really just time constraints for our staff who are working. We have the best public works department around, I can tell you that. And the problem is we have a great public works department. As Jim will tell our superintendent, or our public works director, you can say no. Because every time I ask him something, in many townships, you ask and they say, we'll have to get a contract. Our team, including Tim Bradbury in the back there, the cameraman, say, no, we'll do it. We can do it. We can do it cheaper. We can do it just as well and a lot cheaper. So they're always busy doing stuff for us in terms of, that's the one thing. Trust me, you can ask Jim every meeting we have with our senior staff, I bring it up, and I'm sure it's going to be, along with some other projects that they're waiting to get to. Heroes Park, you'll see, well, as you know, we put in, you improved playgrounds and inclusive playgrounds back there a few years back. We've done a lot of tree work in there. There was also much, if you know, the concrete back there was, I'm not even sure why. I mean, there's people here a lot longer than I do that know why. It became, yeah, but it became a concrete jungle. They filled in
There was a pond.
They filled in a pond where Joe used to fish.
In the swimming hole.
No, there's a pond there. I mean, we joke about it for a lot of time, but it really just grew in concrete for whatever reason. Well, for the last couple of years, our insurance provider has been saying, oh my God, this and take that and this and tripping, and we grinded things down. So we decided to take it up, restore the green space as much as possible, and then see where we go. There's potential. We've had residents say they did basketball court at a different location. We have some drainage. We're doing significant drainage projects right now at the bottom of the parking lot. Because if you ever walked to the bottom of the parking lot, you would go right down a foot. It was marsh. There's two inlets in there. It's going to be much better area, much prettier area. We're going to get the parking lot paved this summer. But there's a lot of work to go on there. We're not saying that it's done of what it's going to be, because we've had residents come up to our guys while they're working over this. I want this, I want that, I want this. So that's a longer term thing, because we do have some other, I know our engineers and Mr. Sullivan about some drainage things for the front of Deer Run. We do have a supervisor here. If you ever drive in front of Deer Run on North Wales Road, in one of our major 100-year storms that we get every 5 years, it gets very high water. One of our supervisors years ago got stuck in his car and had to be rescued out of in front of Deer Run.
No, I climbed out of the car of my own volition. My car was bobbing in the water.
So part of the grants we're giving.
I made the township newsletter too. I did the.
Just a little back. Yeah. So,
Supervisor McDevitt actually yelled at me because I got out of the car. I didn't know him then either.
Stay in the car until we.
Stay in the car, and the car was filled up with water. And I got out, I climbed out, and I had my briefcase above my head. He yelled at me from the sidewalk because I got out of the car. Well, I didn't know that the manhole covers were gone.
Oh.
So it was a big
Could've
problem.
gotten sucked down a manhole.
Yeah, because it was, yeah, because
I'm sure that
you're walking along and all of a sudden you
I wish I were.
disappear under the water.
so that's really, there's a lot going into that part and in front of that part. And it's in the process. I will, only because you brought it up, so I dealt with this in a prior life, in a prior township where people got out in the flooded wall and the manhole popped. They pulled that woman in Ambler out of it. She went down and was drowned, and a couple townships down. So it's truly, I know you got yelled at, and
And just only our concern.
Oh, I know.
No.
He's yelled at me since, don't worry.
Yeah. And I can tell you.
That was before I hit you.
And speaking on behalf of the chairman, when you come to Roxford, we're not used to this kind of stuff.
No.
It's
You have manhole covers in Roxborough?
We've never seen one
Flood.
If we've never seen one flood, I can promise you that. So it's just a different feeling. So anyway, that's that update.
All right, any other citizens to be heard? All right, would anyone care to make a motion to adjourn?
Thank
Thank you, Supervisor Rivera, second.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Vice Chair Capiro, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.